Both Qatar and Venezuela are victims of murder from fascist regimes of Israel and United States, which are determined of declaring war everywhere in the planet. Ukraine, as a proxy of the European Union, also invented a drone attack into Poland, promoting a narrative of Russian invasion. They are hoping to apply Chapter 4 and perhaps Chapter 5 of NATO so that the rest of the European countries go and defend Poland to attack Russia into Third World War. However, NATO so far has not surrendered to the trick. The Venezuelan narrative is abundant on fake news, such as a helicopter that was supposed to be flying over La Orchila Island, which was dismissed by the Venezuelan army as an event that did not happen. It has also been confirmed that recent presence of USS Iwo Jima into Puerto Rico was because of flights from Venezuela fighter jets to its proximity, which has promoted its redeployment to the safety of Puerto Rico harbor. And after the scenic speeches of Governor Jennifer Gonzalez and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, there seems to be no further movement as Russia, China, and Iran have all of them supplied plenty of warfare equipment into Venezuela, which is ready to fight. The Venezuelan army has been deployed all over the country. Every day, further levels of organization are being announced, and we are just waiting for the first attack to materialize. However, all of this news from Qatar, Poland, Lithuania, which also had explosions, suggest that war, as usual, will be concentrated elsewhere. Brazil, however, has suggested to use nuclear energy for defense purposes, considering that Brazil has a lot of uranium, a lot of fresh water, and other mineral resources, and could be subject of invasion from the United States, as threatened by Caroline Leavitt regarding the subject of former President Jair Bolsonaro's prison, who is a close ally of Donald Trump, is no longer in power in Brazil. He was liable of regime change attempts. He has been convicted, and the United States wishes to invade Brazil for regime change, just as it has already announced for Venezuela. The most likely scenario is that both Brazil and Venezuela will have a combined nuclear defense strategy with the help of fellow BRICS member Iran. France is supposed to be a beacon of democracy, and it is harassing protesters who would like President Macron to be ousted, because President Macron does not care about France. All he does is to transfer French money into the Ukraine war. And probably Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom is about to follow suit. Venezuela, however, remains calm. It sounds like Marco Rubio is telling Mrs. Machado that she must form disturbances in Venezuela, just as the disturbances that were recently seen in Nepal, so that there can be some commotion and that could help United States invasion. But if Venezuela remains calm, the United States will find it increasingly difficult to invade, especially since strong opposition from Puerto Rico, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, Cuba, and other Caribbean countries, including Colombia, continue to fight against American imperialism, and they are also wasting a lot of money deploying all of that equipment, which can be sunk at any time, as a luxury of drone models and submarines are on their way from Russia, Iran, and China. China is deploying the Harmony ship, which is in Pacific waters and will arrive into Latin America in no time. China has also told the United States to stop. It has shown the military might, and it sounds like Pete Hegseth sounds brave against Venezuela, sounds coward against China, but China has said it is exclusively to the service of Venezuela, and same have said leaders of Brazil, Colombia, Russia, and Iran. A full-scale war in the Caribbean is not the best-case scenario, but it will be firmly fought if the United States provokes initial shot. And as we know, lunatic terrorists such as Netanyahu or Trump are capable of launching attacks to civilians to escalate. It has been very refreshing to see the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and the King of Jordan, along with the Emirs of Qatar, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, meeting in Doha, Qatar, and they are all expecting a huge retaliation against Israel. Of course, the Houthis of Yemen were the first to respond, and they have already started new bombardments into Jerusalem. But it looks like the Arab League of Nations will follow suit with a newfound strategy of Arab unity that has not been seen for a long time. Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana remain as loners back in the United States. In the Caribbean, Prime Minister Kamala has low approval ratings, and Irfan Ali is illegitimate and contested by APNU and Wing parties. Once all of this theater is over, they will have to dialogue with President Maduro. United States also has to deal with the shooting of a TikToker who was giving a speech in Utah and was shot down. And there has been shootings in Colorado and Massachusetts. Venezuela should continue refining its army strategies, developing as many resources to our military as possible, and we should strive to free Puerto Rico from colonial injustice. Puerto Ricans are scheduled to perform a new massive protest next Saturday in Vieques and San Juan, because Puerto Ricans remember very well the environmental damage provided by militarization, and they resent not being able to have their own foreign policy. And they are also the laughingstock of the rest of Latin Americans, and they have not been able to elect a president of the United States, and when they elect a governor, it's only to kiss the military dreams of a Secretary of War who came from Fox News rather than the Pentagon and is probably not well suited in military issues. There have been several reports of failures of F-35s which are overpriced, and their pilots have been ejected to save their lives at least 3 times in 2024 and 2025 in various combat activities. If such is the case, Venezuela should comfortably shoot down airplanes or ships. Regarding submarines, the Russian submarine that was missing in the Baltic Sea is in Caribbean waters, monitoring whatever approach could be made by American submarines. Amphibious activities have not been reported on the Venezuelan coast yet. Venezuela should also strive to liberate French Guiana from France. Venezuela should strive to liberate Martinique and Guadeloupe from France. Venezuela liberated Peru even at the expense of oligarch Lima City Spanish Crown whites who were living very comfortably and did not want Simón Bolívar from Venezuela to liberate Peru for a republic. However, Simón Bolívar was stubborn and succeeded liberating Peru, and battles of Ayacucho, Junín, Boyacá, and Carabobo were needed for liberating South America. Those 4 battles are now the names of the Orinoco Belt oil fields, which are available for investment. And there is even a United States company that recently signed an agreement to extract oil from the Orinoco Belt, and that United States company is welcome along with Chevron to continue developing Venezuela. However, we are clear that false positives are needed desperately. Just a few minutes ago, an explosive activity occurred in the city of Maracaibo at San Francisco municipality, and the waves were felt at the airport, and some people have been killed. It is too early to know the origin of such activity. It was a factory of explosives, and so far it has not been a bomb from the United States. Even Padre Palmar, who is a devil who always asks for war, but still is a Catholic priest in service in Florida, is expressing condolences to Maracaibo, which is very strange because he is actively asking for United States invasion against Venezuela. I still don't understand how the Pope or the Vatican has not excommunicated such sinful priest who is asking for the death of his kindred. Qatar and Venezuela are victims of crazy war promoters such as Netanyahu and Trump. Qatar is rallying Arab world countries, Venezuela is rallying Caribbean and Latin American countries, and the next step should be that Venezuelan and Qatar authorities merge support from both Western and Eastern Hemisphere so that together we can counteract the sinful presence of United States and Israel, which should be kicked out of the United Nations. United Nations General Assembly will happen within the next few days. Moving the location from New York to Geneva has not been confirmed yet. If the United Nations General Assembly is celebrated in New York, the Palestinian representation will not able to come because United States will deny them US visas to visit. However, many countries in the world support Palestine, and if the Palestinian delegation is prohibited from coming from the Assembly of the United Nations, the United States will have to endure horrible statements from most countries in the world deploring wars in Palestine, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Gaza, Qatar, Ukraine, and perhaps the European Union if it continues asking for new wars. It has been refreshing to see activists from Washington District of Columbia protesting against President Donald Trump when he arrived with Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth to a restaurant, and they were confronted by these brave women who denounced illegal wars in Palestine, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Washington, D.C., which are all militarized. United States military has lost its purpose. It is being used to harass the peoples of the world, and it is likely that as many militaries of China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, Brazil, and other enemies of the United States will combine our military mights to destroy United States war machines, air bases, and everything that promotes colonialism. Venezuela in particular will have as its foreign policy directive to free Puerto Rico from American colonialism and to free Martinique and Guadeloupe and French Guyana from French colonialism, as Venezuela has not been harmful to those territories, but colonial powers such as France and the United States are using their territories in the Caribbean to harass Venezuela, even though France and United States are not Caribbean countries, and Venezuela is a major Caribbean country who claims the Caribbean as our own sphere of influence. United States should no longer militarize Puerto Rico, and France should no longer militarize Guadeloupe and Martinique, because those locations are too close to Venezuela and they are within the Venezuelan sphere of influence. We have learned a lot from Russia. Russia has taught Venezuela that if you are a sovereign country, you must make sure that you count with a dissuading piece of neutral land beyond your borders for safety. Venezuela can no longer tolerate military presence of the United States or France in the Caribbean, which is Venezuela's sphere of influence. We are no longer pawns of Europe. Venezuela is no longer a pawn of the United States. Venezuela has allies from the Eastern Hemisphere, which are China, Iran, India, and North Korea. And they are happy to have Venezuela as an ally because Venezuela is far away from those countries, and Venezuela often serves as a glue that unites Eastern Hemisphere powers together when they tend to quarrel a little bit at home. And the same can be said of Qatar, which can count with Venezuela's solidarity as well as Palestine and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, they have always been Venezuela's OPEC plus partners. We thrive in selling oil, and we also take note of the example of the brave African continent, who is developing a Pan-African strategy of developing the rare earth and gold and uranium resources for their own benefit rather than exporting them to imperialistic powers at colonial prices. Perhaps the French nuclear industry is having a rough time as it doesn't find any cheap uranium, and perhaps the city of London has to recalculate insurance premiums for unrest in Africa and expected prices of commodities and development targets in European countries, because there is no longer a stable supply of African rare earth, as Africa has learned how to accumulate uranium and gold the same way as Bitcoiners accumulate Bitcoin, which is a rare resource. South Americans and Africans are no longer native idiots who used to trade gold for mirrors. We have highly capable engineers who will lead the global South into a position of strength, as we share the same geopolitical strategies of development through peace as Russia, China, and Iran, all of them absolutely horrified by fascist methods used by United States, Israel, and Europe.